Hello, everyone. Mike from RCI. Been about a year and a half or so since we kind of last made a video like this for our official launch of RCI back in May of 2020. That was a hectic couple weeks, right? and then some. We've come a very, very long way since. I mean, it's been a mess. Unfortunately, we don't have George Smith with us as he's still settling into his move from South Africa to the UK. But obviously, Ryan's joining me for the second video that we kind of decided we needed to make because honestly, there's so many big changes coming to RCI in January that we're effectively kind of dubbing this as like RCI 2.0. And we decided, you know what, let's make a video, kind of talk about everything really quick. We'll try not to be too long-winded because, you know, but I'll also, of course, put up a text post and everything when we post this video on Discord and whatnot. But just a quick glance over the topics we're going to cover. Obviously, you guys know we've been talking about the new website for a long time now. That's coming in January. It's just about ready. So the website 2.0 is coming out. We're doing a little bit of a Discord rework to try and condense a lot of stuff because a lot of stuff is moving to the website. We have a lot of stuff in Discord. Some new livery rules coming into play. Yeah, liveries. We've got our new pre-qualifying system that is coming with the new website. That'll be pretty nice. Something I think a lot of people will be kind of excited about is that we're going to be allowing reserve drivers and mid-season signups for championships and whatnot. So touch on that a little bit. Kind of briefly touch on the World Tour, of course, because that's starting soon. Some of our stewarding changes that we've recently made and continue to make. Ryan's been hard at work designing some merch. Ryan, might have that a little bit. And also, I think you and Jesse desperately want the RCI Radio podcast to come back. And so,
yes.
That's something. Also, it is about 11 a.m. Pacific time here, so at about 7 p.m. in the UK right now on Tuesday the 21st. And like an hour ago, there was a discussion going on the Discord about the race pace chart.
Yeah.
Well, we've hopefully got a new version of that coming in as well, with a bunch of updated information. And we've also got some new sims possibly that we're going to be supporting, launching here pretty soon. We'll have a little bit of information about that. And then something else we're looking at in the new year as well is doing some esports stuff properly within RCI. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about that. It's not for sure yet and everything, but we're kind of looking into it. So we'll talk about it. But Ryan, you've been designing this website. Well, doing the design for the website. Stewie's been doing all the work.
Been a lot.
It's been a lot, man. It really has. And of course, we're going to continue to update things after the initial launch here. But I mean, you want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be seeing, and I think you have maybe some visuals as well to put up.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people back when the website first came out. I mean, anyone who's been around RCI from when we first made it would know that we started out on Google Sheets and and stuff and Google Forms and
as everybody.
It wasn't ideal. It was far from ideal, and it had its limitations. And eventually, Stewie came along, and obviously we got the website up and running, which is fantastic. But the website, when it was first designed, was never meant to be a long-term thing. So 2.0 essentially is the long-term thing. It is RCI's long-term future. And it's going to have a whole host of things. The points for championships are going to be fully integrated onto the website. Things like livery submissions, which we'll go into a bit further in depth later on. Integrated pre-qualifying system, as a lot of you guys know, we've been changing the way we do pre-qualifying, and obviously the new changes have been very well received, and we have some more updates for that coming in the new year. Have things like a dark mode as well, because I know a lot of people like that. I know most people are probably blinded at the moment by the exposure on my webcam, but we will definitely have something like
Ryan webcam.
A dark mode, dark mode webcam. But we'll have a dark mode on the website, so it won't be blindingly white anymore. But we've also got loads of stuff like a tracking system now to track loads of statistics, and that includes everything from points, races attended, percentage of races attended, podiums, wins, no-shows, sign-outs, license points, all sorts of stuff that we can track now. And
which is really awesome, not just for the drivers, but also for us too, because obviously we can see trends that drivers are doing.
Yeah.
If drivers are causing problems consistently, signing out consistently, we can see that even better now. But also, you've got stats. You can go in and see how you've done.
Yeah,
which is cool.
you can see your stats. You can see your race history as well, which I think a lot of people probably is something that not many people have mentioned, but I know a lot of people would like, and it is something that, we have been working on. A lot of long-term bug fixes and a pretty big overhaul to how teams work, especially things like the capability to create a team on your profile on the RCI website, and then, that team, you kind of create an organization, and then you can create multiple sub-teams within that. And it can all be managed by one person you can designate as a manager. It doesn't have to be managed by, whoever creates the team. You can go in, you can set a manager, and they can manage literally everything from the livery that gets uploaded for the team to which drivers are participating in every single race. So if you as a driver don't have the time or not really sure what, you don't want to go in there and break anything, not that that should be possible. But, it will be all... You can manage it, basically, and I don't think there's a limit either to how many people could be assigned as a manager either. So you could have literally everyone able to manage the entire team if you wanted to, or just limit it to a single person.
I know
as well.
Gergo will be really excited about that one. He doesn't have to. Hey, Mike Noble, can you please go do this?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean the Discord as well. I've reworked the Discord, I think, twice now. And it's mainly been to condense a lot of the channels down. And we're doing that again because there are still way too many channels in the Discord. We'll be getting rid of things like individual sign-out channels. We'll be getting rid of things like the license point channels for penalty reports. All that stuff will be moving onto the website. We'll be getting rid of a lot of useless channels, things like the results channels as well that we have for each championship. They're going away because we don't need them anymore. It's on the website. So a lot of things, basically, to clean up the Discord, to move things onto the website, and kind of just make the website this one complete package. Where it's going to have everything you could want. The FAQ is going to be on there for all the guys that really like reading the FAQ. We know there's some of you out there. The rules and everything. It will be on there, so you can find anything you need pretty much on the website. And, I mean, going into the new website, we've already kind of mentioned it twice now. Custom liveries and changes to how liveries are done. I mean, Mike, do you want to hit people with the news? They know what it is. They just want to hear you say it.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it already, but yeah. So full custom livery support. Finally coming in, and we put it off for a really long time, right? We've put off using custom liveries for a really long time for a couple of reasons. Kudos doesn't support them, for one, as we all know. Officially, they never have, and honestly likely never will, just because of the licensing with SRO and the teams and all that kind of stuff. It hasn't worked out, but that's a big part of the reason we've always avoided it. The other thing is, obviously, we love our broadcast at RCI. We and everything that we do for our broadcast, commentary, broadcast, and everything. And there is a huge replay lag for that. That ties into custom liveries. And with the 1.8 update, the way that they changed some of the structure on the back end that literally does not affect drivers at all. It's all done the same way that those of you who do custom liveries, which is probably most, there's nothing to change on your end, but it makes it simpler and easier for us, where in theory, I think we've done a little bit of testing and it's just like a couple seconds at best of lag. Plus, our developer has already started working on a workaround fix for it anyway, even if there is a little bit of lag. So in the end, we've decided to take that step to support them, and obviously there will be a little bit of manual review for the admins and a little bit of limitations to things. Obviously, we're not gonna you're not gonna go out and put curse words or anything like that out on your livery and expect to run it. All the liveries will be approved by manually by our administration team that gets submitted. All you do is you go upload it to the website. Ryan, I think you've got some images of kind of what the website itself will look like a little bit that I'm sure you'll throw up on the screen while we're talking about this. But you guys will go in, you'll upload the JSONs and the liveries folder, the PNGs, and we'll go in, we approve them. You get a message saying, hey, it's approved, or hey, it's not approved. So and here's why. Hey, you have the F word on here. Can't allow that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's about that time. Kuno still doesn't support them, but it's been long enough, and we want them to. We want them to look good. Obviously with the broadcast. I mean, it's something that obviously our teams themselves have used them. You and Harry Conway have designed quite a few of our liveries for the Chris Hay Championship that we did.
Mostly just Harry. Mostly just Harry. I won't take the credit for that one. That was mostly just Harry.
You're right. But so we love them too. So it's something that we really want to have, and we're really excited for everybody to come in and do. Plus, it kind of leads a little bit into us, being able to do esports stuff like we talked about. Because obviously, with esports stuff, your team's got a sponsor, your team's got whatever. You're gonna need that. So we'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, the customs are. I think it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah,
and it alleviates a lot for our stewards to check for custom liveries.
It does. And it's something that we said we have been against it, and we are finally lifting that on it now. So we will have a fully integrated system. Obviously, once the website is finished, you guys will be able to go around and play with this a lot. I'm pretty sure once the website's done, we'll even have a bit of a kind of a guide video, if you like, just showing some of the basic functionality for what you guys might have been used to that might have changed, and what's new as well, just so that you guys can get familiar with it before you jump in, or maybe you just want to jump in and play around with it anyway and just see what you can break. And hopefully that's not much, but alongside allowing custom liveries, we're also making a pretty big change to all of our championships for next year. In the way of pre-qualifying. Now, if you've been around over most of the second half of this year, we've been doing pre-qualifying for a lot of the championships. Friday and Monday specifically have been two particular championships that have run pre-qualifying a lot. That is now being applied to every championship within RCI now. It's becoming a global thing. It's why it's a thing for the World Tour for next year in 2022, because what we have essentially come to the conclusion is that, there is a lot better racing when people can find themselves in an adequate split. And a lot of people don't know what split they should be in, and it's not always their fault either. Your pace can change, from season to season. So, you might have done very average in one season, and then you're a lot better in the next, but you've kept yourself in the same split because you didn't expect to get much better.
Yeah, I mean, look at last year's World Tour. We talked a lot about this at the end of last year's World Tour. Excel Racing by Renwelton.
Yeah.
They
started as a silver team and they were fighting for pro.
Yeah. They were like mid-pack silver, and then all of a sudden they're fighting for overall podium, at the end of the season. Like teams like that, and that's maybe a bit of a huge example, but it's still that example. So yeah, and hot stint as well. That's an important thing because we haven't yet been able to do hot stint stuff up until very recently. Hot lap is a little sketchy, obviously with pre-qualifying. In the end, we're racing, we're not hot lapping, so that hot stint really kind of provides that extra little balancing act, I guess, is the term I'm going to use for it, to be able to sort people properly out. Hopefully, I think it's I think it's some good, and another thing about it is sandbaggers will be very easily noticeable by a hot system. In case people do want to do that, and I don't know why you would, but in case people do, it's something.
Yeah, and I mean, on the note of something that is coming to all championships again, reserve drivers and mid-season signups. Now, we previously haven't really been able to do this, at least not consistently, without it being a massive pain on the admin end of things, which is why we've sort of allowed it on some occasions for things like the World Tour, and for EWC we kind of tested it out a bit, but it is a bit of an annoying process for us. But with the website now, with how it's being built, it will be much easier for us to manage, because now basically once signups is over, people get moved onto a reserve list if they're on the wait list, and if they sign up afterwards, they get moved onto the reserve list anyway. So that means that they can then, essentially fill in a slot. For sprint championships and stuff, will require people to go in on the pre-qualifying servers, which will remain up throughout the season for people to use. You'll have to go in there, you'll have to do the exact same thing that everyone else had to do at the start, or before the season, and that essentially will determine your split for which split you can be a reserve for. So obviously, people won't just get thrown into whichever split, is missing drivers. We want to make sure that as a reserve, you are coming into the correct split, and a split that suits your pace and everyone else around you. So,
no Ryan and Mike in split one.
Yeah. So. But it's going to be that sort of case. We have and we still will make exceptions for specific scenarios, like if it's, for example, an esports driver, like, let's say, just take an example, Mike Noble couldn't sign up when the championship started, comes to do a mid-season sign-up. There's not really a point to us making Mike Noble go out and do pre-qualifying, because we know he's going to go into split one anyway. He's an esports level driver, SRO level. So, there are exceptions for certain case-by-case basis, but,
And not just esports, though, either, because especially since we have, we'll know with the tracking that we'll be able to do for some of the drivers as well, we'll know people. And also, we, especially the championship admins, and especially the people that race, we know a lot of the drivers anyway, right? I may not have driven in Night Owl for a couple seasons now, but, I used to recognize pretty much all the Night Owl drivers, knew what their pace were. And so I could have told you exactly, this guy should have been low, this guy should have been one, whatever. So it won't just be esports drivers, to clarify. But that's definitely something that's coming as well, and we're excited for that, because we do get that asked fairly often. People jump into the Discord late, and they don't care maybe to win the championship. They just want to come in and race, even if it's a couple seasons down, and check it out and keep racing, and then enjoy it and start the next championship and be there. So that'll be something.
Yeah, and
so.
Reserve drivers from pre-queue all ties into features that are added to the World Tour for next year. World Tour 2022, you guys have all seen the calendar by now. You've all seen the dates. You've seen that it's going to have a hot stint pre-queue system, and obviously all the team features that I mentioned earlier. They are going to be available in full for the World Tour. That's when you guys are going to get your first real chance to get a grasp onto those new tools and kind of play around with things, and upload liveries and get your teams sorted out and stuff like that. And one person could manage multiple sub teams and all sorts of stuff. And we'll have more clarification going forwards on things like the World Tour, team limitations and all sorts of stuff. But all that stuff coming to the World Tour. World Tour will have reserves. If we have teams drop out throughout the season, we can add teams in now. Because of the reserve system. So it's going to be great. The World Tour was fantastic last year. We learned a lot this year rather. We did learn a lot about how we can change things, how we can be a bit more lenient in some areas, a bit stricter in others. But overall, it was a fantastic season last year. 24 Hours of Kyalami was the highlight of the season. We've got a 24-hour Spa this year, so it's a bit more on trend, should we say? With what people want to do, but it's about time we run something like a 24-hour Spa. But you know what that means? It just means we don't have to run one next year. So there'll be something completely different for next year, which probably won't be Kyalami or Spa. So that'll be interesting. But the World Tour 2022, it's going to be exciting, and from some of the things you and I have been sent by some people, there's going to be some really, really quick teams that weren't in it last year that are coming over.
Yeah, I know. I know that just as a theory, that perhaps one of the Honda performance driver teams might be in, maybe one of the Ferrari esports teams, et cetera, et cetera, right? These are these are big names, right? And I think especially our top split. Not that it wasn't a blast last year, but our top split could really be huge and it will be an absolute blast to watch. And of course, we've got 3 other splits as well for drivers like me and you that maybe want to drive. I know you're very much planning on driving.
Very much not
in the championship,
esports level.
Yeah,
drivers.
the very much. They're like we're not even B sports. We're but so there'll be plenty of room obviously for everybody. Obviously, we've got 135 signups initially, up to 180 for 4 splits. Live stewarding for everything. Commentary and broadcast obviously for the top split and everything, and live stewarding is kind of the big thing that we started with the World Tour last year. We were doing every single split live stewarded, and even if we're doing them slightly differently, with the race control for the main split and submission, it was a huge thing for last year. I'm glad to have that back. Our stewards they put in a lot of work, and we
make some of the biggest sacrifices, because obviously not the work the stewards do doesn't always go appreciated, and we respect it as much as I think you probably can, because they give up a lot of their time. And to kind of just touch on the stewarding, things have been made a lot stricter recently in terms of penalties that are being applied. Obviously, we've taken feedback on that. And we have seen improvements in certain areas, like the Monday Championship that we just ran, the Porsche Cup, to end the season. Probably the cleanest championship we've ever done in ACC. I think we had 2 races where there was only 1 penalty given out.
Wow.
And absolutely incredible. There is still work that needs to be done. We might make a few tweaks to some of the stewarding bits, before we return for the new year, but there is definitely going to be, a lot more focus on, the stewarding and how we can improve it going forward. We're always looking to make it better. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be good enough. And the feedback that people have given us all throughout the year is stuff that, we are very much acting on. And it is something that, we want to improve, because, this community for us, in a way, inadvertently, it's become part of our life, Mike.
It really has, especially for me and you.
You can't step away from it for more than like a few hours a day, pretty much. Yep. It's constantly, everything that is going on in the Discord is constantly in your mind. So, we'll make tweaks to the stewarding as we need to. We already have some ideas for some stuff that we need to discuss, but we will make those improvements, and obviously that should help us carry over, some big stewarding improvements for next year into all of our championships, and specifically into the esports stuff that we want to do for next year. We have, with the new website, we'll really be able to get into doing some esports related stuff. We've wanted to run some stuff for a while now, but we just haven't really had the chance to kind of fully do it yet. But
especially once we started looking at all these teams that are going to be in for the World Tour, we're like, well,
it's one of those things where if you're into esports, if you're into watching esports or participating in esports, then keep an eye on that space. We'll have something in the future. If you're not into esports at all, I mean, don't worry, it will not affect the actual community and all the other leagues in any way, shape, or form. The community is very much still for any skill level. And
importantly, and I will reiterate this literally every single time I am able to, free. RCI won't ever charge for community members. Like, by all means, we love donations, because obviously, like, there are costs to this, but the esports stuff will be totally separate to the community stuff. Like, if we're gonna do the World Tour, if the World Tour ends up with split 1 as an esports championship, where there's a paid entry and everything like that, the other 3 splits will still be free, and you guys come in and do it. There will still be live stewarding, etc., etc. So that's one of the big things that I want to make sure that gets out there, that people know, if we do that, the average driver doesn't pay for anything.
If you're not into esports at all, or you don't believe you can get into esports, so it doesn't interest you, then nothing changes for you on that front. Essentially, everything will stay the same. And that is something very important, because it's not just about who is the fastest. I mean, we've always talked about that. The problem with stewarding and broadcasting is that a lot of the time we can only do one split on the week-to-week stuff, because we just don't have the people realistically to do everything. And that's just unfortunately the reality of the situation. But with the World Tour, we should be having live stewarding for every split, and that's going to be pretty good. So if you're into esports, keep an eye on that space. If you're not into esports, nothing changes for you. So just don't worry about it.
Exactly. Now, kind of stepping away from the racing stuff for a quick second, and I promise I know we've been talking for a while already, but we'll
It's Ryan Gill and Mike Jones. We talk a lot.
Yeah, the only thing that could have made this worse was if Jesse was here. So there's two things I mentioned: merch and potentially RCI Radio podcast, right? So let's hit on the podcast first. So obviously we did a couple episodes of that last year, and people liked it. Like, we got some nice views. We started putting it up on things. I know you guys thoroughly enjoyed it. There was just no time, realistically, especially with you having to do as much freelance work as you were doing at the time. It's not something that we were realistically able to do. And that's likely something we're going to bring back for next year. And I know you guys have some plans for it as well. It's obviously not just ACC focused. It's not that. It is racing and perhaps not even just racing focused. Kind of mostly racing focused, but you guys might hit on some other topics here and there and stuff, especially if we get some guests in that maybe that aren't entirely focused on that. We've got a lot of connections with other people and stuff, but you and Jesse and hopefully George, if we can get him settled in. I know you guys are excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast was a blast to do. We had Paul Jeffrey on for the first episode, and Paul is a class guy, and it was great.
We basically had a podcast episode on Sunday.
We did actually. We did on the Jardio stream.
You just go clip the stream if you want.
I basically had like a 1 hour or an hour and a half 1-to-1 with Gergo talking about ACC and Kunos and all sorts of stuff. But no, I mean, we enjoyed the podcast. Like you said, the problem was there just was not the time to do it. Yeah. We had a lot going on because we had just founded RCI, and it was just bad timing. Yeah, a lot. It was just unfortunate. But we want to bring it back bi-weekly format as it was last time. And just touch on things in general, touch on racing things, sim racing things, but also more kind of just talk about things that are happening in the world maybe at the moment, just trying to keep it to a more interesting level, as much as sim racing and the world of motorsport is very much our interest. There's already some great podcasts out there that are specialized in the world of racing or in sim racing, for example, like the Race Department podcast and all sorts of stuff. But we kind of just want something that if you're interested, if you like Jesse Lee or myself, you can just flick it on and listen to it, maybe on the way to work and back, or something, and or in your free time, whenever you like, and just listen in and hear what we have to say. And let's say we can have guests on, and stuff like that as well. And who knows, maybe we'll get some people from the community involved as well, and stuff in the future. I mean, it would be great to connect on another level with some of the people in the community that
sit down and talk sim racing with some of the guys who are in here racing with us all. Exactly. So yeah,
the podcast is definitely exciting, but
I can't wait for my RCI radio shirt.
Yeah, merch has been something that we've had kind of in our minds for a while. I mean, I think I get atted about once or twice a week by someone about when are we getting mugs or when are we getting a shirt.
I've been doing the math.
Tom Roberts has been asking me when he's going to get a shirt for a while now, but we will be making some shirts. We're making some very there'll be all sorts of stuff available for people. There'll be some plain designs where it's just got the RCI logo on it in a black or white color. Just some very clean stuff that some people will like. We'll also have some other things like the team shirts as well. If you've seen any of our RCI custom liveries, you'll know what they look like, and the team shirts kind of reflect those liveries a bit. We'll also have some kind of special shirts that are a bit more crazy out there if you're into the more wild side of shirt design, and stuff like that as well. And hopefully the esports team that we want to put together for RCI will also have its own kind of merch in a sense as well. And we're excited to release it. It's not all finished yet. There are some things we need to clean up on our end. The store is pretty much set up though, so it's basically just to the point of getting everything finished. And we should be able to get that released. I mean, unfortunately we are not big enough to have our own production, distribution, and storage center yet, Mike Jones. I mean, I know that your wallet doesn't extend that far, but it's stuff that we've been working with with a designer and distributor to try and get high quality products out there, and there will be shipping costs involved, and there will be certain prices on things that,
but it's stuff like like think of sites like Redbubble and stuff like that, right? It's
similar to
we'll do that.
But yeah, it's all sorts of stuff, and we'll have things like coffee mugs, we'll have things like shirts, caps, hoodies, all the normal kind of stuff, and all that. So I mean, if you like RCI stuff, or if you just like some of the shirt designs and stuff that we're going to put out there, then go ahead. It goes towards supporting RCI as a community. That is the most important thing to emphasize. That money doesn't go to anyone's back pocket, because none of us are paid here. Stewie, who's probably done the most work of anyone this year, doesn't get paid. I know we've joked about that internally, but he's done a fantastic job, and we obviously want to kind of reward him in some way if we can going forward into next year. But all the profits that we get goes towards the community and making sure that it is financially stable for the future, because things can change at any time. So that is always our focus, to make sure that if the community is financially stable, the community is going to stick around, and by sticking around, that means that we can just put on more and more racing for you guys. And speaking of more racing, Mike Jones, it's time we let out the elephant in the room of the expansion. We're gonna have the talk about the sim.
Yeah, and it really is the sim, isn't it? Because being realistic, however much that every single one of us, I would assume every single one of us watching this video, all of our staff, probably most of the community, we love ACC. It's our main sim, right? What's the biggest sim in the world? It's iRacing. iRacing is fantastic. It really is. Now, obviously, some of the holdup to iRacing for a lot of people is the cost, right? And that's a lot of the reason that people love ACC. They love even AC1. The cost of iRacing is definitely something to take into consideration. However, I sat down with one of their community managers just a few weeks ago and spoke with her kind of in length about, since we have a pretty sizable community, and we do our broadcasts, we have all of our stewards, we have staff and everything. Basically, we're going to be partnering with them to at least provide some free accounts to people that don't already own iRacing, right? So this will be free accounts for people who don't already own iRacing. You'll get all the free content. You won't have to pay a subscription for the first 3 months. You can come try it out. And I gotta say that, obviously, me, you, and Tom I think it was like literally this time last week, Ryan, and we were, a little bit earlier in the day maybe, but the three of us sat down, we went and did a few races on iRacing, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Tom's really been enjoying it, his whole HWT team, a bunch of the staff have been, me and you, include, with a couple of the teammates are going to do the Daytona 24 here next month, hopefully. Tom and his team are going to do the Daytona 24, and there's a lot of perks to iRacing. I mean, if anybody has ever heard me talk on the Discord about what I love about racing,
LMPs.
It's LMPs. I love WEC. I love LMPs. I'm disappointed the GTEs are going out. I do like GTEs, but hey, GT3s are fun too. But LMP2, I love LMP2 cars, and it's something that I really enjoy about iRacing. So that's what we'll be racing. Is the LMP cars. But there's not just LMP, right? You got F3 cars. You've got the brand new, I think the Mercedes F1, if I'm not mistaken, is out in it now. Obviously, they've got what's the TCRs and it's just so many different cars, so many different
IndyCar,
tracks,
NASCAR,
Indy cars and NASCARs. Yeah, so we're going to be starting with a free championship. You can come get that free account from us. We're going to get, I think, somewhere around like 60 codes or so for free, and it'll definitely be like a first come, first serve type of thing. Come try out the free championship. We're going to be doing, MX5s, probably, I think we decided like 5 or 6 different tracks.
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember, yeah. This is probably going to be starting in like February. We'll take some signups for it and everything, and then, we'll get that rolling, and assuming everything goes well, everybody enjoys as much as we have been enjoying doing iRacing, we'll start expanding that out. We've got plans for 2 different championships, Ryan. So it's something that we're wanting to continue into long-term, 2 different championships, of course. And most importantly, this is not going to affect our ACC stuff at all.
No.
We're still here, so should be fun, and I'm looking forward to both the championships that we're looking at.
Yeah, this community was it was born in the wake of a previous community departing, and it was very much built around the idea that ACC was it. It was the sim for us, and it still is, it still will be. ACC, its future. We know there's stuff coming in 2022. There's some exciting stuff coming in 2022. We saw Kota teased at the end of the keynote for 1.8. We saw things like the Ferrari Challenge Evo and the new Porsche Cup, along with the new Super Trofeo that was announced about a month or so back as well. And there's going to be some exciting stuff coming in the future for sure. But you've always got to keep in mind that things don't stay the same way forever. ACC is very much our home, and it will continue to be our home for as long as it is supported, pretty much. I mean, if it happens that in 2-3 years' time, Kunos come out with something else, and ACC's shelf life is essentially then shelved, it becomes, a finite thing. We as a primary sim will probably just move over to whatever Kunos do next, because we've got a very, very good relationship with them. We really did like ACC, and there's no reason to believe that anything they're working on next isn't going to be amazing as well. Whatever it's on. So we're very much keeping it where it has still been, but we can't ignore the fact that iRacing is huge. Whether you agree or disagree with things like the payment model and all sorts of things, it works for them, and no one's forcing you to do it. That's the important thing, is that, ACC will still continue. The Monday Championship is still going to be a thing. The Friday Championship will still be a thing. Night Owl will still be a thing. The Thursday GT4 Championship is still going to be a thing. The World Tour is still going to be a thing.
The returning Diamond Drive Cup.
The returning Diamond Drive Cup on Wednesday is still going to be a thing. It's nothing is going away to allow this to come in, which is the main thing, that we want to emphasize. And of course, expanding into a new sim as well, it opens up new possibilities for us to work with, more people. It allows us to, kind of bridge that gap between people that say maybe only play iRacing or only play ACC. Maybe we can get people to cross over and experience the other side of the coin, in a sense. And there are a lot of people that play both anyway. So, if you guys are out there and you're interested, we'd love to see you all come over and, and have a go at it as well. And of course, we want to expand going forwards. I mean, we kind of tried to do it a bit with Race Room. Unfortunately, it just didn't quite pan out.
Unfortunately, Race Room is just not big enough to really look into.
It didn't pan out the way we'd hoped.
It's a great game.
But a lot of people enjoyed the racing that we had there.
Yeah.
And we're kind of hoping that we will get a very good response from this. And like I say, if first come first serve kind of basis for those free accounts and stuff like that. So if you've been on the fence about iRacing, you want to give it a go, maybe try and pick up one of those free accounts, get yourself involved in the championship, and who knows, you might really, really like it. Because I think that's a lot of the thing that some people are a bit concerned about, is that maybe they don't want to try something because they have to pay upfront in advance, and it might be something they might not use ever again. So they don't want to commit to that investment. But, you know, if you can get in on it, you can try out the free championship. You know, and
the MX5s are a blast.
The MX5s are a blast. They are great.
Really are.
But, you know, there is a load of great content on there as well. And, you know, if things go well and the championships do well and stuff, I mean, we have endurance events for things like ACC. I mean, there's no reason as to why we wouldn't host our own endurance races.
How many times do people ask for Nords?
How many times people have asked for Nords a lot. But you know,
it's at least 5 times a week.
we can do other stuff. You know, we can go to places like the Red Bull Ring, for example, which I think is a fantastic track, and I know Mike wants to do an enduro.
LMPs at Red Bull and Fuji.
Yeah, Mike wants to do things like the Red Bull Ring, Watkins Glen, which is another fantastic circuit. So we get the full access to the roster of American circuits, which are very good as well. But there's also some other great circuits in there that we can access as well. So it just opens up the possibility for more things. But like I said, the key point is, if you're an ACC only kind of guy or girl, or anything in between, and you don't want to move, you know, it's not appealing to you, you don't like the idea, then cool. It's exactly like we talked with the esports stuff. Nothing changes for you. Everything stays the same. And you might be thinking to yourself, man, how are you guys going to keep running all these races, like more and more and more and more and more, and it's not going to like burn you out? Well, the positive side is that the website is going to help with a lot of that, because the website takes off 90% of the burden that we have had as admins over the past year and a half, and stuff like that.
And iRacing already makes a lot of things.
Yeah, and iRacing is almost fully self-managed within itself, so it's almost like we don't have to do anything but set up the event and let it go.
Yeah, there's not. I haven't had time to dive into the administration side of it yet, as the you know, the partner that I've been working with there hasn't set up our account yet, but they're going to get that set up, I think, shortly after the beginning of the year. We'll start messing with it, and then we're going to get stuff in grid and get you guys on it. And just as a bit of a preview, the 2 championships that they're working at long term. So the first championship we do is going to be the free championship that we're going to do MX5s at some of the free tracks. Is going to be in a Saturday evening slot for GMT for the UK. So I think we're going to start that at, did we decide on 7 p.m. race start time, I think? So that way it's nice and done by the time Night Owl starts.
Yeah, it's going to be around the same time that we usually do, or a bit earlier, to our normal championships like Friday and Monday.
Yeah. That way, you know, it's not interfering with Night Owl at all for those who might want to do both, which I'm sure there will be multiple people who do. And then long term, that Saturday championship will be our GT, our TCR, maybe F3s, the LMPs. That will be when we will run that. Is in, you know, that late afternoon, early evening Saturday. You know, maybe, you know, like I said, maybe 6, 7 p.m., maybe 8, depending on what we decide on. And then Friday nights, we're looking at some more American-based series, IndyCar, NASCAR, on Friday nights afterwards, or after the Friday championship, the ACC Friday championship, probably around the same time like Night Owl would start on Saturday, maybe around that 2,300 mark, give or take. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a rough thing for us at the moment. Obviously, that's subject to change based on feedback, based on how the first championship goes, etc. But that's kind of what we're looking at. So, you know, we hope that. I know a lot of our staff are excited for it. Tom is so excited for Indy. So that should be a lot of fun.
Can't shut him up, can we? But
yeah.
No, it's a lot, and I'm fully aware that we've been waffling on for a while now. But you know, there is a lot. There is a lot to cover for next year, and the kind of amusing thing is that's not even all of it. You know, there are things coming in the future that we're not really going to go into detail today, because you know, the path into the future just isn't quite set in stone for things like that just yet. We mentioned the race pace chart for ACC and stuff like that. We have full plans to make a dynamic race pace chart that is exclusive to the community. basically its race pace is adjusted based on the real data that we get from our championship. So, you know, there are some exciting things that we have planned in the future. And I know that Stewie has already got ideas for like 2.5 version of the website in the future as well. But, you know, there is so much that we have planned for next year. And the
website is the start of it.
The website is the start and probably the core of it as well. You know, and we can't wait to get started. We hope that you guys can't wait to get started either. And you know, we want to make RCI, you know, one of the best places to be for sim racing in ACC, and you know, hopefully in the future for iRacing as well. You know, we want to welcome in as many people as we can, and as I said, you know, whatever your skill level, wherever you're from, you know, it does not matter. The doors are open, you know, and you know, come on in and enjoy the racing, and you know, hang out in the Discord. You know, there's the 6,000 plus strong at the moment. You know, in the community, and a lot of these guys that are around here, they've been around for a long time, and you know, and they really enjoy.
Now.
Yeah, almost 6,500. But yeah, a lot of people have been around for a while, and you know, they stick around because you know they're enjoying what's here, and that makes us happy as the people that run the community.
Exactly. Well, Ryan and I talk a lot.
Too much.
We will stop talking now. So yeah, new website, custom liveries, new pre-queue system, reserve drivers, World Tour is coming up, guys. World Tour, obviously, signups already open for that. Make sure you go drop it in, finish out your team. January 10th will be the start of the hot stint qualifying for that. And you know, keep an eye on everything else for the new year. If you guys want to talk about iRacing, have any ideas for that, that's what the Discord's for. Pop in the general chat. Let's chat. See if we got any ideas. See if you guys have any thoughts on it. Pop it in the comments. Hey, we'll be back in the new year for some racing.